More grace, more grace. So we had the passing of our Pope Francis, and I have so many wonderful memories. And even in his transition, in his victory, the reports were that his life savings, what he had in his account, he donated to men that were incarcerated, and that was his joy. The other thing that I found that was so amazing was he understood, he connected with the Protestant church, in particular the Pentecostal church. He mentioned our worship, which is which is different than what he did, or how he worshiped. You know, so I was very saddened, I was very saddened, and so I felt, that I should honor him, and this is just my share on Pope Francis. There's a few other things that he did that I found that was really interesting. When the leaders of Sudan were warring, he kissed their feet. He he kissed their feet to beg them to come to peace, to find a way to peace. He opened up the Vatican to Syrian refugees at the time when Syria, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when Syria had all of the refugees, that some went to Turkey, but he opened the Vatican for Syrians. And I just really respected him. I respect the office. I respect the seat of power. That is a foundational principle that I live by. Whoever is in power, I honor that seat, because it is the power seat, and no one ascends to that place without the Lord being involved. So it's just a principle. But I mean, I just love Pope Francis, and his I really loved him, and so I'm going to read a few verses here. It says, submit yourself to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be for the king as supreme, or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers, and for the praise of them that do well. For so is the will of God, that with well-doing you may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. As free, and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness. Although you're free in Christ, God still requires you to say yes to His word, to what He's asking you to do. And in my years, I found that the things that He asked me to do, they're not hard. They become hard if you wait. Sometimes we wait to do what He's asked us to do, and then it becomes very hard. But when the Lord speaks, it's generally something that we can do. It's very easy. Okay, but as the servants of God, as free and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of God, honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king. So it says here, honor all men. Honor all men. It doesn't say just, men in the church. It doesn't say, men that are in government. It says to honor all men, but I think that what I like, that it's just a foundation. I think it's to understand that God as he says when he was correcting King Nebuchadnezzar, this is in the book of Daniel. God involves himself in the affairs of men. He involves himself in kingdoms. He involves himself with all of the world leaders. And I think sometimes people, try to constrain or restrain or to box in grace. God might give one person a grace to do one thing or to do another thing, but it's not for me. It's not for us to make an assessment of, is this, are they supposed to be doing that? What we're supposed to be doing is to live our lives, yielded to the Lord, and to do the things that He wants us to do. And so Pope Francis, I watched his funeral, and I just was really, the whole process, this whole process has really made me have elevate my view of the Catholic faith. It has elevated it. The principle will always be there that I'm going to honor everyone, especially those that sit in seats of power. But the whole process of the elders, the bishop of elders, in the process of how they have together, and everything is shut down. No one can gain access. They go before the Lord. It's just you can be excommunicated if you speak out, or if you step out of what the process is. It's just really, when you think about it, it's just really a very holy thing. And in my earlier days in my walk, I was raised Pentecostal apostolic, and so we were taught that even in my pastor, he at one time he preached that Catholicism was a cult. That was a little bit far from me, a little bit extreme for me, because I tend to try to deal with people and their faith where they are. I've had Bible studies with Jehovah's Witnesses. I have fellowshipped with Jesus Latter-day Saints. My heart is always to try to hear what is being said, and to try to, in some way, maybe I can influence in some way, but it's not to condemn, it's not to judge anyone. I don't get into, there's definitely, principles that I've been taught in the Bible that I stand on, so that will never change. But I will listen, and try to engage in conversation, and hopefully, maybe something I say it can influence that person. But I just want to share about Pope Francis, and just how important it is, for us to not just read the Holy Writ, but to allow that word to become flesh, allow us to do what to allow this to happen in our lives, allow the word to happen in our lives. More grace.